Now, many times we feel difficult talking to people. We meet a lot of strangers in our life. You're switching to a different company, you meet a set of completely different people of whom you're not aware of. In your personal life also, you meet strangers every now and then. In your professional life, what will happen is that once you join a company, your boss will take you for an ice-breaking session where he or she will introduce you to all the people inside a particular department. But then the question remains, how do I talk to a particular person to make sure that I build a good relationship with him or her? Now guys, here we have to understand the basic attribute of human behavior. Everybody wants to be talked about their own self, or they want to talk about their own self. So you just observe yourself, 24 hours in a day. A majority of the time, most of us behave very selfish. Most of us are either talking about our own self or want others to talk about us. This is the reality of human behavior. So once you're talking to somebody, start talking about themselves. So if you start talking about them, you are actually rubbing them in the right way. But if you continue on talking about your own self, you are not rubbing them in the right way. So this is one thing which all of you should remember. Once you're talking to somebody, start talking about themselves. Try to remove all these words, I, me, etc. from the conversation. Rather, replace them with you, your, etc. And this really works out. Why? Because everybody wants to be talked about themselves. Now, if you're not talking about them, then make them talk about their own self. Now, how can you do that? By asking relevant questions. Relevant questions like, Mr. Sharma, how did you manage this project so well? Mr. Ashish, how did you crack this interview? And once you ask these questions, once you keep on asking these relevant questions, the other person starts talking about their own self. The other person starts feeling important about their own self, and they start feeling that you do give a lot of importance to them. And remember guys, all these things which we are talking about have to be very honest and sincere. It should not seem that you're following a particular script. And how is it possible? By regular practice. So the next time you're talking to a person, make sure that you're actually following these two strategies. Either talk about them, very honest and sincere, and if you're not doing that, make them talk about their own selves by asking relevant, sincere, honest questions, of which you really need an answer. Don't just ask a question for the sake of asking it. Ask a question for the sake of getting that information. So I'll just take an example, right? One of my colleagues was talking to, one stranger who just joined the office. And he just went through his CV. He just went through his LinkedIn profile once. And he found out that he was interested in, he used to care a lot about the animals all around, especially the stray dogs which are there. Now, once he joined the office, once there was an ice-breaking session around, this colleague of mine started talking to him about dog care, the stray dogs care. How can we make this world a better place for them? And once he started asking these questions, that guy started talking about this, that, and all that stuff. This really helped build up a good relationship between them. And this really works out, guys. So do follow this strategy next time you're talking to somebody or you want to build a good relationship with somebody. This works out.